is going to go into several different pieces and places, so just bear with me while I make this point. I'm pretty sure at the end you'll understand my point. Okay, during the riots in 1968, my house was like 3 houses or 4 houses from the corner of a busy street, and the tear gas would burn my eyes every time I would come outside. That's how close I was to all the rioting that was going on. And that was in 68. And during that time, my father packed us up and moved us to this place, Genesee Road, East Concord, New York. It was all white, and they hadn't seen blacks, and I had never seen this many white people. I mean, I come from nothing but blacks except for a white family that lived across the street and moved out there. This was in 68, 69. Okay, went through life out there, stayed out there for a good while. And I believe that if God wanted to give me an experience of my own so that I could judge things for myself, I believe that that's what that was about. That I got away with that because of things that went on in my household. There were white families that did things for me that, that I am still thankful for today. And those people didn't have to do that. So I was able to see the good and bad in everything out there in terms of dealing with people and what people's feelings were, and be able to judge that even at that young age. And so I left there, I was about 14 years old. But now, mind you, when I say I saw both sides of it, what I mean is my brother was 15. In 1985, he was murdered out there, okay, for being black. Okay, so I was able to see the good and bad in everybody, and that's the way the good and bad is, just like with the Civil Rights March. If everybody would pay attention, especially black people, you would see there were white people that marched along with Martin Luther King and that put their lives in danger, because nothing hateful white people liked more than less than a white person, less than a black person, than a white person who liked or didn't have a problem with black people. Hope you follow that. So they put their lives in danger out there marching with Martin Luther King. And to fast forward it now, Barack Obama would not have gotten into office if it hadn't been for a lot of white votes, because first of all, a lot of black people don't vote, and then the few that did could never have gotten him in. It's a lot of white votes. This is the reason why I tell black people that we need to stop crying racism. Because you can't legislate racism and hate. You can't legislate it. The same hate that went on back in the Civil Rights Movement, that you saw, that visceral hate, that exists today in people. You know, the only thing the law did was say that now they have to pay the price. There was time they could kill a black person and not do a day, in jail. Now, if they get caught, they might do time in jail. That's the only thing that stops them, believe me when I tell you. So we deal with that same level of hate. So I want black people to understand you can't legislate that. What you have to do is go do what you're supposed to do. And that's where black people are failing. I hate the fact that we complain before the world about a white cop killing a black man when we got so many black people killing black people. I mean, we should be up in arms about that. So I don't understand that whole thing. So you're going to see me go a little bit of every place. I don't understand that about us. I don't understand why we never made education our #1 priority in this country once given the opportunity to get a fair education. We didn't. We have a 47% graduation rate in most major cities that have a large black population. In Buffalo, it's 47% graduation. That means that less than 50% of our kids are passing. And that number, 47, also includes the number of children they push through who are barely passing, but they need to get them out for statistic purposes. Okay? So we are failing on so many levels, it don't make any sense. Failing on so many levels. And I hate Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton because they kept black people pigeon-toed and complaining about a racism that you can't do anything about. You can't legislate hate no more than you can legislate pedophilia. You can make a law to say pedophilia is against the law. Did that stop a pedophile? No. So legislate a law to stop hate won't stop hate. It just makes it happen a different way. Which brings me to my point. I go to a lot of hate sites. I have white people at my job that ask me why I go to hate sites. I read up on a lot of things. And this is what people need to understand. Hate had to even take a different route to do what it had to do because the times changed. So on hate sites, they encourage their people to become police officers and politicians. Politicians make laws. Police officers uphold laws. That's what they're supposed to be. the reason why I get upset. See, to me, black people, we have a tendency to do things wrong. We need to ask why black cops are not saying anything about this stuff. They seem to run and hide when stuff happens to black people that they know is wrong. You don't hear enough of them band together. And so there's something wrong with that. And that's who we need to be questioning. Not white cops that are filled with hate, that their mission out there is to do that anyway. I mean, I just saw on the news not too long ago where there was a white man who was wielding a machete and swinging it at everybody. And the white cops tackled him. Now, he would have been one of those situations where I feared for my life if that was a black dude, and they would have shot him and killed him. But see, I'm not mad at them because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They hate black people. So they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And of course, they got that segment of society that's going to say, oh, they're just doing their job. Look at those black people. See, that's what they get to use against us. They get to use the fact that we are killing each other in every major city. And that's why our arguments seem so dumb. We give the argument to hateful people. I hope we can digest what I'm saying here. We give the argument to them. That's why they can say they fear us and kill our kids. That's why George Zimmerman was able to walk free. Because we are giving it to them. We're not raising our kids right. And this is God. Look, this is a personal opinion. This is God's punishment to black people who he delivered out of bondage. If you read just Bible stories, that's what God does. He delivers you out of bondage, gives you his rules. We go break them, and then we got to deal with the wrath of God. I think black people right now are under the wrath of God. I believe that God has unleashed hate on us because we didn't do things right. We didn't raise our kids. We value things that devalue us. So that's what I believe. But God is using hate. And the people who hate, that doesn't mean they're of God. They're of the devil. That's what hate is about. And this is the crux of my conversation. Let's look at these people. Look at these, I hate to say it, look at these Tea Party people. They hate. They claim to be Christians, like the Bible says, those who cry, Lord, Lord, will not make it into heaven. They claim to be Christians. They are so contrary to Jesus, it doesn't make any sense. And if they say, look, I had a brother murdered by white people. I hate no one. Most white people haven't had anything done to anybody in their family by anybody black. But they hate for no reason. But then let's just say if they had a reason, then where's the forgiveness of Christ that they claim they have? They're of the devil. These people, their mindset is of the devil. I don't care which way you cut it. I don't need, people to agree with me or disagree with me. I am telling you what I feel, what I know of Christ and the Bible. I know that these people stand nothing for the Bible. Nothing. They would kill Jesus today if he was around because he'd be too liberal. If these people could kill, they would. That's how nasty they are. This has nothing to do. Look, even the Republican men, you got that Gaynor and Eric Cantor and Mitch McConnell, all these Republican men, Newt Gingrich, they're playing to the crowd. They don't even believe half the stuff they're saying, but they know what to say. But what they don't understand is this. Those people they're playing to, they're for real. These people hate. That's why gun sales went through the roof. This wasn't a bunch of black people buying guns. These are white people buying AK-47s, these Tea Party people. And believe me, I separated because, like I said, I've had the honor of growing up to see both sides. So believe me when I tell you, I know it's not all white people. And that's why black people got to watch how we complain about things. Because it's not all white people. A lot of white people that support us, but we're losing their support because we are raising terrible children. Terrible. Violent. Uneducated, don't want anything, can't take any orders, reach for violence first. They're not going to make any living. Our kids are headed for destruction, and it's self-destruction. We're not even giving racism a chance to kill our kids. Those little sprinkles that happen with cops, my heart goes out to those families. Those are the ones that's grieving. These looters and these other idiots out here, man, give me a break. That dude burned this be down, all this other stuff. This stuff can go. Look, you grieve for that family. And we find a way to correct what's going on. But we have to do that through laws. What did black people do? We sat back and watched this vote go by without voting. So now we have a Republican-controlled Congress and Senate. Black people don't even understand what that means. That means, look, They complain about there not being a civil rights law that transcends all civil rights laws. We have a civil rights law that expires. All these people got to do is get in there and not let it be anymore. That's how simple it is. You know, so we don't vote for anybody, and when we do, we vote lifetime black politicians back into office. As we can see, we get no results. My streets, look, there was a riot in '68 in Buffalo. There are areas of Buffalo and cities where black people live that still have remnants of the riots. Nothing's been done, and I mean large areas. And the fact that we don't make any money and we're not viable, it makes it, we destroy what little we do have. We need to be ashamed of ourselves. These eyes on the prize people, they marched and died. They fought the real fight. We got a bunch of gun-carrying cowards who don't do anything but kill each other. That's all they do. And then we got white people letting white people sit back and use our kids' anger as a reason to kill them. And that's why they will constantly get away with it. A jury of our peers will never exist. It only existed once during the OJ trial. We gave that to OJ. That we will never see that again. So there are a lot of things we did wrong. But this Republican Party, this Tea Party, these people are the Klan in sheep's clothing. That's all. Claiming Christ, don't have any Christ in them. Everything about them is hate. Everything. But we're not going to win that by marching, complaining, and tearing up our own neighborhoods. How dumb is that? Couldn't be any dumber. You want to win that fight? You got to do like the Japanese do. The Jewish people do. Money is what buys this country. Money and smarts. We are going the exact opposite way that was forged for us by the black people who gave their lives for us. We're going the exact opposite direction. Dumb black people don't even realize it. Just dumb. Look, there are parts of me that are Democrat and parts of me that are Republican. My Republican part says, because I'm a taxpayer, I don't want to see my money in welfare or anything else, Social Security, disability, go to people who misuse it. Sorry, especially welfare. I would prefer you not have any pets. You can't have pets because we're feeding you. Your children must maintain a C+ average in school or your benefits get cut. These are the things I believe in because I believe in making a man strong, not weak. So there are parts of me that don't like what the Democratic Party does. I like some of the things that the Republican Party stand for, but I would never stand with them because they stand with hate. There's a hate in this country that will not die. And you just have to be strong enough. We're not raising our kids to deal with it. We're not strong at all. We're a weak people that succumb to weak people. Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton got rich off of us, just like every black politician in this country. Barack Obama stood alone. He couldn't do anything. He's a figurehead. Black people, we make that presidency null and void because of the way we act. He got to deal with that and deal with the world. We can't even stand up with him and have it mean anything because we don't mean anything. We don't mean anything because we didn't fall for it. Yeah, of course there's successful black people. There are successful black people. Of course there are. But they don't come back and invest in their neighborhoods, which is why our neighborhoods crumble. We don't have money coming into our neighborhoods. So we lose the fight all the way around. But make no bones about it. This is God doing what's happening with us. This is God doing this to us while the devil is girding up his army. That Tea Party is of the devil. They can say what they want. They can cry Christianity all they want. Everything they stand for is of the devil. Martin Luther King, he fought. He was called a communist. He fought for the rights. He was the last person that God had to send to fight for our rights. From that point, we were supposed to spring forward ahead and do everything right. Raise our kids, teach them that education is the way. We've taught them violence is the way. And they don't win, they can't win. And by the time they realize it, it's too late to get an education. It's too late to do something about it. Brain cells don't last forever. If we don't get our kids in their formative years, we will never get them. We're losing this fight. So black people, we better wake up and stop this tearing up the neighborhoods. And look, of course along the way we're going to lose some black kids. You don't think they lost black kids back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s? What do you think the hanging tree was? They lost kids. And they marched. They had to march. The Martin Luther King march was nonviolent civil disobedience. That's the only way to get something done. You don't march that march, you can't march. You got to just train and teach your kids. We need to do something about this. We're the only ones who can, and we better do something about it. I love you with the love of Christ.